Hi guys, how are you?
Hey,
Hey,
Rachel.
Rachel.
So to start, I went to theater school and they always teach you like the basics of creating a character is kind of going through the motions and like figuring out how it works with your body. But when you guys are kind of relying almost entirely on that for a role like this, how did those fundamentals kind of help you guys all approach your characters and make sure that like you had all of that so we as the audience understand the emotions that are going through their minds?
I think that the Sasquatch boot camp that we had was so informative for us. We spent a couple of days in an office building in Eureka, California, um, with plates of arugula and smoked salmon and berries and cheese. I don't know, all these things that Sasquatches would eat and find. And there were sticks and rocks that we were interacting with, and that was so informative for us because we got to collaborate and we got to figure out how exactly these characters are going to move and walk and hold things, and how we would steal food from certain characters. Would we steal food from certain characters? How would we carry a stick from one end of the room to the other? And we also spent a lot of time um, exercising our relationships, between all the characters. And I think it was such a great collaborative. And also, Jesse brought on Lauren, a movement coach that he'd worked with in the past. Not only was it just so much fun to figure these out, but it was these characters out. But those 2 days were so helpful for us for the rest of the film.
Yeah, and I think, Riley, for you real quick, the I love that the heart of this movie is also like a very real human story, even though we're not going through this journey with a actual like real life human. For you, well, what were like some things that helped you really connect with the aspects of her storyline as we're going through this and seeing how she kind of adapts to everything that's happening to her?
I think that it was like connecting to the part of her that's just very simple and in the moment. And um there's not a lot of like mind chatter, I think, in the Sasquatch mind. And so it was just trying to be really present in what was going on right now, and how to continue to survive, which was the sort of the animal thing. But then I think there was a layer of elevating that a little bit with trying to portray maybe that she's feeling things a little deeper than maybe the animals do. And so that was really fun for me. And I think there's sometimes you'll have animals like a dog where you're, convinced that they're a person and really feel like, they are feeling your emotions and soul and stuff. So I think that trying to convey that was yeah, just trying to be really present in the moment for her and stay in her kind of um headspace.
Yeah. And Jesse, I think you are underrated as one of the most like comedically in tune actors that we have. Like you kind of always find those like comedic moments. And with this, there are very comedic moments that we get to kind of see play out. Did I know that David and Nathan said the script was like you knew what beats you guys had, but did you get to play with that a little bit when you guys were on set and like lean into those more comedic elements?
Oh, well, thanks for saying that. Yeah, I think like there were certain scenes that you had no choice but to kind of like roll with whatever was happening, especially because we were working with animals.
Mhm.
And we were working with animals who had these like really funny skill sets. Like we were working with like a rescue organization to provide the animals in the movie that you see, because the Sasquatches are of course living amongst nature and amongst animals. So there was like a badger that could like wave hi. I had a porcupine who kind of like gives me the cold shoulder. And so like in some of these scenes, you're like in this absurd thing. You don't know how you look. It's like exhausting, and yet you're interacting with these animals. And so there were certain scenes that were just so funny because you had to interact with animals, and the animals are kind of reacting to you in a weird way too, because I don't know how they perceive us because we're looking like creatures, but we're bigger. And yeah, I don't know. But so there was like a lot of times just based on like the very strange environment we were filming and what we were looking like, that you kind of just really were relying on your imagination and hoping that it looked good, because you also don't have a perfect sense of how you're being perceived.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it. I said I can't wait for Sasquatch Dawn, which is just the war version because you guys filmed in the trees that inspired Endor. So like I can't wait to see more of these Sasquatch stories. I think they're really fun. But thank you guys for talking with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you. Have a great one.